In the spring of 1997, renovation crews were sent to Oakridge Memorial Hospital in Ohio. It's a crumbling medical complex that had been operating since the late 1800s. Much of the building was being gutted to modernize its facilities. And for weeks, workers had been tearing down old partitions and stripping ancient wiring. One morning, while knocking down a wall in the basement level, a demolition team stumbled upon something that wasn't in any blueprint: a sealed corridor. Behind layers of brick and plaster, they found a rusted steel door bolted shut from the outside. Confused and intrigued, the foreman called in the site manager. After hours of prying and cutting, the door groaned open, releasing a stale gust of air so suffocating it made the workers gag. Their flashlights illuminated a hallway long entombed in dust. The paint had peeled into curled flakes. Old fluorescent fixtures hung dead, and the air reeked of mildew and something metallic. It was a hospital wing, frozen in time. The corridor led to a nurse's station, its desk cluttered with typewritten charts and half-filled logbooks, as though abandoned in the middle of a shift. Patient rooms lined both sides of the hall, some still furnished with iron-framed beds, cracked leather restraints, and overturned wheelchairs. Dust lay thick, but eerily, the place felt untouched, not scavenged. Everything had simply been left behind. What unnerved the workers most were the records. In filing cabinets and drawers, they found patient charts dated through the 1930s and 40s, abruptly ending in late 1948. The files detailed psychiatric cases, but the language was clinical to the point of cruelty. Subject: unresponsive to conventional treatment, increased hallucinations. Recommend transfer to Wing C for observation. Yet, Wing C was nowhere in the hospital's current maps. One carpenter, uneasy with the discovery, noted something odd carved into the paint of a patient door. Strange symbol circles, intersecting lines, almost runic in style. He swore when his flashlight hit them, the shapes seemed to shimmer faintly. Word spread quickly through the staff. Some refused to continue working until the place was investigated. Administrators tried to downplay it, but by week's end, rumors had spread beyond Oakridge. A local historical society, eager to preserve the find, pushed to document the wing before demolition continued. That is when the first official files surfaced. Mentions of a government-funded project that had quietly operated out of Oakridge during the Second World War. The hidden wing had not been forgotten by accident. It had been deliberately sealed. Through patient records, yellowed newspapers, and fragments of reels found in a storage room, a disturbing picture began to form. In 1942, Oakridge Memorial had quietly partnered with a classified military program called Project Lighthouse. Officially, it was described as research into treating severe psychiatric trauma in returning soldiers. Unofficially, it was something else entirely. Surviving documents spoke of experiments involving sensory isolation, induced hallucinations, and electrochemical therapies far beyond accepted medicine of the time. Patients, many of them veterans, but some ordinary civilians, were subjected to prolonged darkness, blinding strobe sessions, and injections of untested compounds. Doctors reported identical hallucinations across multiple subjects. visions of vast corridors of light, voices whispering from behind walls, and entities watching from the in-between. The journals of Nurse Helen Crawford, found locked in a desk drawer, provided the most chilling details. Her entries began with mundane frustrations about understaffing, but soon shifted. Patients speak of the same figure, a man without eyes, waiting in the corner of their rooms. They say he whispers of doors that should never be opened. Another entry weeks later read, Dr. Pfizer insists the visions prove contact, but with what? At night, even the staff hear the tapping in the vents. Some of us refuse to walk the hall alone. Film reels discovered in the wings showed brief, disturbing clips. Patients strapped to gurneys, convulsing under strobe lights, their mouths screaming words muted by the footage. In one reel, a patient suddenly turned to the camera. His eyes rolled white, mouthing something over and over. Lip readers later claimed he was saying, "It comes through the cracks." Then, in December 1948, all documentation ceased. Nurse Crawford's final entry, scrawled hastily, was found beneath her desk blotter. They are not hallucinations. They are waiting. Dr. Pfizer has locked himself in with the idol. If anyone finds this, do not unseal the wing. Her words suggested that the experiments had uncovered something far beyond psychiatric phenomena, something that fed on the patient's suffering and slipped between spaces when conditions were right. By the time investigators pieced this together in 1997, rumors swirled of black-suited officials visiting Oakridge after the wing's discovery. Some records vanished overnight, reels confiscated, only scraps remained in private hands. But one thing was clear: the wing was sealed in 48, not to protect the hospital, but to protect the outside world from what had been unleashed within. Among those fascinated by the case was a young researcher named Mark Delaney, who volunteered with the local historical society. Unlike others, Mark became obsessed. He copied files, transcribed Crawford's journal, and even stole one of the recovered reels before authorities seized them. He confided to friends that he was determined to find out what really happened in Oakridge Wing. See, months later, Mark disappeared. A colleague who'd spoken with him days before said he had been poring over Crawford's notes. He told me the man recalled that the symbols weren't just scratches, they were seals. He said the government had just been experimenting on patients. They'd been keeping something locked inside. Security footage from the hospital's storage annex later showed Mark entering after hours, carrying bolt cutters and a flashlight. He was never seen leaving. When workers opened the annex weeks later, they found the lock broken and a single object missing: a small iron key, tagged Wing C Ward 12. Then reports began to surface. Staff on the night shift claimed to hear tapping in the vents. One janitor swore he saw a figure in a white hospital gown drifting at the end of a hall, though no patients were admitted to that section. Another claimed to hear whispering through the walls. We are still here. The most terrifying discovery came when a hidden service crawlspace was inspected during another round of renovations. Inside was the mummified corpse of Dr. Pfizer, seated upright against the wall. Skeletal hands clutched a notebook, its final pages scrawled in ink and blood. I was wrong. The idol does not contain them. It feeds them. Every patient, every scream. I opened the door wider. God help me, they will never close it. Beside him, etched into the stone, were the same symbols found on the patient doors, half of them scratched away, as though by desperate hands. The hospital administration officially declared the wing unsafe and sealed it once more, this time with concrete. Reporters were threatened with legal action if they pursued the story. Artellini's name was never mentioned publicly again, but locals whisper that at night, if you stand outside Oakridge Memorial and listen closely, you can still hear it. A faint chorus of voices echoing through the sealed walls. Some swear the windows flicker with pale light, as if the wing were still alive inside. And the words most often reported by those who heard them are always the same three chilling words, spoken in unison, as if hundreds of voices chant from the dark. Don't open it.